on my recount. That's 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Director Ballantyne. Here. Director Coleman.
Here.
Director Barney.
Here.
Director Allred. Here. And Director Morgan's here. So 4 present, 1 remote. So all 5 of us. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved as presented.
Second. Okay. All those in favor? We do a roll call, right?
Roll call vote.
Director Ballantyne?
Yes.
Director Coleman?
Aye.
Director Morgan? Aye. Director Allred?
Aye.
Director Barney?
Aye.
Okay, unanimously passes. Next item is item 2, community announcements and public comments on items not on the agenda.
Community announcement, we have a Queen Crazy coming up this weekend. Don't forget.
Anybody else online or in our peanut gallery? Thank you for attending. No other comments? Okay, next item is item 3, consent agenda.
A motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items A and B, which are the check register and the minutes of the regular board meeting July 2nd.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Director Ballantyne?
Yes.
Director Coleman?
Aye.
Director Morgan? Aye. Director Allred?
Aye.
Director Barney?
Aye.
Okay, unanimously passes. So far, so good. Item 4, action items. CalPERS unfunded liability.
Good afternoon. This is our annual payment that we make to CalPERS. It's a mandatory payment we have to make. They do set it up as a monthly payment, but they give us an option to make it annually. If we make it as an annual payment, the one-time payment will be $562,348,000. If we make it the one-time payment, it will save us $18,806,000. So I'm asking, we did put this in the budget for us to make this payment. It is due by the end of July to make this payment to have the savings. So I'm just asking.
We typically made it annually.
We typically have made it annually to take advantage of the savings. So I'm asking the board's permission in order to make this one-time payment.
I'll give you a motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay. My only comment is, have we ever run the numbers on the interest ourselves, what we make in the bank, just for comparison?
I did put some thought into that.
Yeah.
So as far as our LAIF account, I did look this last year. We had $2 million in our LAIF account when we were only making like $25,000 at this time. So I will definitely put some more thought into it for next year.
Interest rates go up.
Yeah, interest rates go up. Yeah. Yeah, we may want to look into some of the CDs. I could talk with Tiffany also while she's here before we make this payment, and I could talk to her some options too. So I can talk with her before I actually make this payment if there's an option. She might have something in-house with Mission Bank. So before I make the payment.
Well, but we need to make the payment for the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, you guys can give me the approval to make the payment, but if she gives me an option that
says it's better
idea, then I'll table the payment and then I can bring it back.
Okay.
But yeah.
So roll call vote. Director Ballantyne?
Aye.
Director Coleman?
Aye.
Director Morgan? Aye. Director Allred?
Aye.
And Director Barney?
Aye.
Okay. So unanimously passes. I was waiting for Director Morgan to say something. Senior moment. Okay. So action item Bravo, Mead and Hunt Service Contract Amendment.
Good afternoon, directors. This is, as you said, an amendment to the Hunt Construction Administrative Services contract for the Roper Street Water Main project. And a little background into what caused the scope increase for Mead and Hunt. The project was originally scheduled for 30 working days. The contractor completed the project in 57 days. We're 27 days beyond schedule. There were some items in the field that caused them to go beyond schedule that were outside of their control, and many items that were inside of their control. And they essentially began the project behind schedule and did not pick up momentum. There was a delay in the jack and bore to get under the railroad crossing that of an equipment failure that caused them to go a couple of days beyond schedule. They did actually hit one of our telephone poles and take power out that caused a complete work stoppage for a day. So, and then there were some other items that we were deducted from their contract too, because they were going to further delay and frustrate the project. So we did assess liquidated damages to the contractor for the delay. But because they went beyond the 30-day working period, Mead and Hunt did incur additional costs to stay on site and to perform their obligations per their contract. And their contract was a cost-plus contract. So while we did increase additional cost or incur additional costs, $57,855 from Mead and Hunt, I also included as part of the backup the deductive change order from the contractor, which was, I'm sorry, I don't remember the complete total. The deductive change order from the contractor was $223,300. So the staff is asking and recommend that the board authorize the CEO to approve the amendment to the Mead and Hunt contract in the amount of $57,855.
Okay. Question is, could you explain a little more detail, Mead and Hunt? I know that they engineered and then managed or planned the project. When the contractor's on site doing the work, are they also managing that team?
So they are
oversight.
It is oversight. It is quality assurance. It's material testing. It's field directives. They are doing material sampling and testing. They subcontract with the surveyors and the test labs for those services as well.
They're not managing the construction.
They do have someone that they have. So they did a lot of the cost is travel and lodging for the personnel that they did have on site.
You understand where I'm going with this? Is there's a
they are not
the burden of responsibility for the valves that didn't get ordered or changes like that.
That burden is on the contractor.
Yeah.
They're not directing them as to how they perform their work on a daily basis. They're majority of what they do is observe and report, and they're making sure that they adhere to the contract and adhere to the plans and specs.
But, so the organization actually doing the work itself that Mead and Hunt is overseeing, was that selected and being paid through Mead and Hunt, or did we?
No, the board selects the contractor.
Gotcha.
And the district pays the contractor directly.
And the net change to the contract, excluding the original giant 50% increase that we approved alone. There was due to COVID and all that, there was like a big cost escalation, as I recall, from the original. But that aside, the net change is actually a reduction in the cost, right? Because the
net change
200 and then they're asking for 50.
Right. So
for me,
in a little way, I'm a bit making it confusing, and I apologize for that because I'm talking about two separate contracts.
Oh, I get that.
I just wanted to illustrate that
our net cost to the airport is
reduced by $170,000.
Right. Okay. It reduces the stain as much.
Yes.
Okay.
And I apologize, but that's why I wanted to make sure that I included the deductive change order from Chafee, because I wanted to be able to explain that we did penalize them through the liquidated damages for their overages.
Right.
And which is not all of the accounting for the $223,000. There were some other items in there that we
Recording in progress.
Was there an additional expense like the poll? Is that explicit in
a lot of it was due to the fact that we terminated the project outside of the GA gate because we were able to, and it didn't disrupt GA.
Right.
When we excavated that, we found conditions that weren't represented on the original plans that the airport had. So that did descope it quite a bit, but then there were meter and backflow assemblies that they were not able to provide. They did not provide the correct material, and then it was going to be too much of a delay for them to obtain the proper material. So we removed that from the contract because we didn't want to frustrate it any further. So.
Anyone else? Thoughts, comments?
Yeah, Mr. Coleman. I've been reviewing the documents, and I see that Rafael Gonzalez was the project manager. And I would think a project manager would oversee all the contractors, make sure they have all the products that are ready to go and on time. But it looks like it's been almost double the amount. And I don't know if this is a standard protocol because it took almost twice as much time to do it. That let's say they were to be a week early, does Mead and Hunt refund the money then we get, or is it just overruns?
If they had completed a week prior, they would have that cost would have been deducted from Mead and Hunt's contract, but not from the contractors.
Well, I find that a project manager should have complete oversight of all the contractors, and to say the contractors were the deficiency is really outside of what I consider a project manager to be. And I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Floyd, let me answer that. In the context of public works projects, Mead and Hunt designating him as a project manager is an internal designation. It is not a district or a contractor designation. The district, as the owner, has overall responsibility for the project. We contract with the contractor to do the work, and then Mead and Hunt to make sure that it's done properly. But the means, method, and manner of construction lies entirely with the contractor, and that's part of a public works contract itself, that language.
Thanks for clarifying that. And the only reason this is coming to the board is because of the interim CEO's funding limit for authorization, right? Otherwise,
and that's correct, and it was a board approved contract.
Right. Okay.
Would the new manager, Mr. Smith, might look it over and come up with his inputs to that also.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Or?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah. Whatever it was.
Okay.
Second.
So we've got a motion and a second. So roll call vote. Director Valentine.
Aye.
Director Coleman.
Nay, I think the manager needs to look at the contract.
Okay. Director Morgan. Aye. Director Allred.
Aye.
Director Barney.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. And that's it for 4 action items. Now we're under reports. Director of Operations.
Good afternoon. I grabbed the wrong report. It's not my report anymore. All right.
Do you need to go fetch that?
No, it's right here.
Oh, okay.
I accidentally grabbed the CEO report and I was ready to read. I was like, wait, nope, that one's not mine. So operations counts, we did have 1,217 operations logged in the month of June 2024 during towered operations. So these do not count the operations during CTAP. That is up from 1,188 in the June of 2023. I'm still working with Bird Tower to continue to try to troubleshoot why are we experiencing the disparity that we had seen in previous counts. We had noticed that it is not just the military operations, there are other outliers, some of the experimental aircraft, even some civilian aircraft who maybe have had issues with transponders or ADS-B in testing first 5 hours of flight, those types of operations. So I am meeting with Bird Tower to find a way to get through that.
This only counts ADS-B, right?
From what I can tell.
Yeah, you're not required to have ADS-B in this airspace.
We are not, but when Jason brought the software on, it was intended to try to replace some of the manual counts that we were doing. However, it is not fully encompassing the operations here at Mojave.
Yeah. So it might not. My point is, it might not even be aircraft having issues.
No, it's not the aircraft themselves. It's the software. So we're trying to come up with ways that we
they
can
only count ADSP.
Right.
It's not a software. It's just a feature, a limitation of the product, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And these are discussions that, as David gets on board, I will have with him as well. Whether this software, we are paying for the software. However, it does not meet the needs of the airport. If we're using it solely for operations counts, if it's still, missing 20% of our operations, then it does, warrant re-looking at. So
for our
software improvement.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a real question.
Mhm.
If we can determine some percentage, maybe with a very diligent count visually and this maybe over a period of a few months, and come up with a 10%, 20 something. So we just use that as for our own use. I realize FAA won't buy it. That we have a general idea of what our real traffic count is.
Well, maybe they would. I mean, if you have some statistics,
Maybe,
if you say,
we've done this
in
diligently
each
for
quarter for 1 week, each quarter of the year for 1 week, we try and account for all of them.
I think you get a close number. It's not going to be dead on, but it might be 10%, might be 20. I don't know.
Well, I mean, presumably before ADSP, there was at non-tyrant airports, they reported their usage and got grant money based on their estimates.
Right. And we do have people that are still maintaining. When we brought the system online, because of the types of operations that we have in Mojave, I directed my staff to continue with traffic counts as we were prior to the software, so that we can have a picture, if something like this were to happen where it was not accurately representing the aircraft numbers that we have here. And
we've got security systems that might be able to fill in that. Someone crosses the threshold, it might trigger a motion sensor and might figure out a way to count it. So we've got cameras and all kinds of security elements built into the airport.
We'll keep working this, and I'll meet with Dave and see what we want to do path forward. But as of this month, now that we have an uptick in operations, so that is a good news.
Right.
And then I'm going back in through historical data when I get some time to get a better representation of the previous months when we were reporting solely off of Bird Tower. Testing operations. I wrote here we are experiencing a significant uptick that feels like a very, very understated. We are very busy right now. The testing operations, which is great, great for fuels and great for training, and good to see that.
What type of testing?
Oh gosh.
I'm thinking rocket engines.
No, all
that's
aircraft.
I know I'm wrong.
Aircraft, UAS, and actually our rocket testing has gone down significantly.
Okay, well that helps. Yeah, because I was thinking when you said testing.
So we have like NTPS has some of their more high volume training, and some of our other larger operators are testing new projects, ground testing, and then I'm trying to think of how much I can say in a public meeting. Everybody's testing. If it flies, I feel like it's been out this week and will be out next week. But I am working with the operations team, actually, especially the tower, to continue to keep traffic moving, make sure we can at least have an airport surface open, or find a way to, if somebody comes in, we can get them on a runway.
I experienced that 2 weeks ago, I think. There was a note on the airport was closed, and I contacted the tower because UAS operations, and they were able to work me in. Like, they kept me out of Class D just for 5 minutes or something, and I basically flew a long base leg, and then the tower got me in after the UAS said.
Right. So we aren't doing.
So it's working well with both. Me showing up from somewhere else. It was a cross-country flight, and then doing.
And that's where it should be.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Especially for pilots, it's so frustrating. I've been locked out of an airport.
No, it was not. It was not a hard no. Can't come in. We're doing testing. It was you need to contact us, get permission. I'm saying it worked well.
Good. That is good to hear. It was a little nail bitey with some of our more in-depth operations, trying to ensure that we get runway closures, but we were able, I think the longest delay we had was 8 minutes on getting somebody to take off. It wasn't somebody coming in. The person coming in had priority, and then we got someone to take off, and we were able to keep traffic moving and make sure we can still use it as an airport.
Yep.
And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And I'd like to add, thank you so much for, what a fantastic job you did as CEO.
Thank you.
Yes, she did.
Proud of the work you did. It was a big workload, and thank you so much.
And I only had 2 conversations with Carrie. I said, no, don't do that. And I think about 3 with Scott. And I said, no, can't do that.
Yeah.
But all of the thanks goes to the team here at Mojave. I would not have been able to get through it without them.
Yep. Lots of fires were kept under control.
So literal.
Yeah. Well, only 2.
Okay. So now we have item Bravo, Chief Executive Officer. Welcome to the team.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Good afternoon, board. And I want to, before I go to my scripted comments, further caveat and add compliments to the entire staff up here, in particular the work of the Director of Operations, Sewell. In the 30 hours I have been here, it's been quite the fire hose, but the remarkable staff out here is competent, eloquent, and participates in my guidance. And it's very apparent to me that they are working overtime so we can be jointly successful. So my compliments to them all. As far as the hangar update, no major updates since the last meeting. Taxiway 8 categorical exception. The Director of Operations, Sewell, spoke with Mead and Hunt about the board's concerns that were voiced last week with the Taxiway A rehabilitation project. The proposals provided encompass only the phase 1 area of Taxiway 8, which encompasses the most critically damaged areas as discussed in the previous meeting. A new CADX will need to be filed during the phase 2 portion, which covers Taxiway Alpha between 4 and 22 and 8 and 26. However, that is still a few years away. Regarding the Taxiway C closeout, good news story here, working with the FAA and the final 2 payments. Actually, they've been made, the final 2 payments for Taxiway C rehabilitation closeout. And we're working to close out the grant on runway 12/30 rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Subject to your questions.
So they're almost paid up.
Yes, we submitted the last 2 payments on Taxiway Charlie. I did check this morning, the last one on Taxiway Charlie did come into Mission Bank, and I did reach out to Caltrans, so I'll be submitting for the $150,000 on that one next week. And then we're going to start working on 1230 probably here in the next 2 weeks now that we got Charlie. So it's nice to get those closed out. Lots of paperwork. So it's been 4.5 years. So.
Carrie and I had a brief
yeah. It was yes. It was.
But on to the next one.
Yes.
Hopefully this one won't be as arduous.
Because now we know, as the FAA changes staff, it definitely, everybody wants things a little differently. So when we did it a couple years back, that staff wanted it different. So we had to learn how the new staff wants it. So we worked through that. So now 1230 will be a little quicker.
Okay. Dr. Smith, any other comments, highlights, or
no other updates or highlights at this time?
Okay. Well, the board would like to welcome you aboard. I think you're eminently qualified to take us into the future and, do great things here. A lot of great things have happened. You've got strong ties in the Antelope Valley that I think will be very valuable. Your academic qualifications are, exemplary. I mean, it's amazing accomplishments, quite a resume. Brigadier General, PhD, MBA, all that's. We're looking forward to working with you and seeing what we can do with Mojave's future.
Well, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to working with the board. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity, and it's phenomenal not just because of Mashpee, it's phenomenal because of the community we integrate with and the nation as a whole.
Thank you. Board committees, we have none. Next is director comments and items not on the agenda.
So quick question, that taxi line that's painted in front of our fuel tanks, the self-serve near the bollards, is that still on the pavement? Okay, what's that process gonna look like to remove it?
We're gonna.
What's been proposed, because I actually consulted with, I'm concerned that when we do remove it, and I'm going to assume that that's what's driving your question, is that you'll still be able to see it. It's going to be media blasted, which, as opposed to if they plane it off, where you will not have a sharp line, no matter how they remove it, we're going to see a clean spot. But at least this will be a more blurry, clean spot. That's our hope, intention.
Yeah, I mean, that's better than something bright yellow and misleading, right?
Yeah.
So is there a plan to, repaint to, what I frequently see when you pull up to a self-serve is not something to guide your airplane, but more of a keep out zone, more for situational awareness. Are we going to do that instead? Is there a plan to replace the line?
I'm going to defer back to Ara.
When we started noticing issues with the fuel line, I went back to our engineers. They redrew it for a larger class aircraft and took into consideration the bollards. The initial error with that design was when the engineers designed the line, they did not notice bollards. So went back, told them, hey guys, we've got concrete here. We can't be this close to the fuel line. So they redesigned it and they scaled up. I can't remember what type aircraft it was. Scaled up the aircraft size so it would have a larger wingspan and took into consideration the bollards. It is not set in stone yet. We have the option of just removing it entirely and leaving it removed, or
Personally, I'd much
I'm with
rather.
Director Barney. I think that it should have been erased immediately, and then you can start thinking about whether or not there's going to be some. It's dangerous as it is. It's leaving, and so it'd be better to have nothing.
Okay.
And no matter how poorly it's erased, just. I mean, it's your eyes drawn to it, and then you think, well, someone who's engineered this line is going to keep me safe. It's just like between a row of hangars. If you follow the line, there's a drainage gutter that's not necessarily in the center, and so you follow the line between the hangars, not the drainage ditch, because sometimes it does this, right? And so, you may check your sides, your wingtips, but you've got some faith that you're not going to, and someone who's not local is going to come in and whack that thing. Yeah.
So may I suggest that we save this conversation for a later board meeting? I understand the director's concerns, but it would be better if we discuss this at the next board meeting.
Okay.
So I hear what you're saying, Scott. I really just want to impress upon the importance of getting rid of it now. Like whatever it is, even if it's poorly, even if it's spray painting over it in black paint for now until it gets media blasted, but please get rid of it ASAP, even if it's done poorly initially and followed up with high quality later. I think it would very much behoove us.
I can assure you that there will be no remnants of paint left, but as I said, there will be a clean spot.
I'd say the time is much more critical than the quality on this one.
Right. It could be covered in white paint, and people wonder why there's a white splotch, but they won't follow a line where they shouldn't be following.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other director comments? Okay, then we're ready to adjourn. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks all.
Recording stopped.